final round of the Blancpain Endurance Series is here at the Nurburgring, and it's something new in the championship, the Blancpain 1000. It's a 1,000 kilometre race. It will last for 6 hours, depending on which comes first, the actual distance or the time set aside for the race. And not only is it going to be something different for the teams coming on the back of a 24-hour race at Spa, but it is the ultimate championship showdown, because both Pro Cup and Pro-Am are up for grabs this weekend. There is a long list of potential winners of the Pro-Am category. Double it and you get the Pro Cup, where there's something like a dozen people, a dozen combinations of drivers that could realistically leave the Nurburgring as champions. The Pro Cup being led by Kessel Racing, Cesar Ramos, Davide Rigon and Daniel Zampieri. Max Buch has only done Paul Ricard and Spa, but he could yet take the championship. He's equal on points with Christopher Mies and Frank Stippler. Then you've got Jelmer Berman, Bas Linders and Maxime Martin, who missed out last year. Lucas Ordóñez leads Pro-Am. Peter Pitzera is only 4 points back, but they share a car, so there's no real chance for Pitzera to win the championship, because whatever he scores, so too will Ordóñez. But Alex Buncombe, another Nissan driver, is in a different car. He could take the title. Andrea Bertolini can't, he's not here, but Nick Homerson and Louis Machiels are trying to win 3 Pro-Am championship titles back-to-back. They're the only people that have ever won the Pro-Am category. This is the 3rd year of Blancpain. Doing 3 in a row is going to be very difficult indeed. Well, the cars will be making their way to the rolling lap very shortly. First, though, let's catch up with some of the top stories coming into this final weekend of the series. Pro Cup and Pro-Am both up for grabs, and the Pro Cup competition is going to be as intense as ever. The Kessel Racing Ferrari heads it on points, driven by Davide Rigon.
We are 2 points in the front, but it's like nothing here. For sure, we need to be in the front of all if we want to win the champion. This morning we had a problem with electronic things, and then with Cesar Ramos lose the car, and we had a crash. We can fix the car for qualifying. We don't do the pre-qualifying, that is bad. For sure it's not a good way to start, but all the team is working very well. We really hope to take for the team this victory. We really like to do our best.
Opposition is going to come from Mercedes. Maximilian Buch is well placed. He's only 2 points back, despite having missed the first 2 races of the year.
I did not expect to be so much in the front in the championship after 2 races, but yeah, I think we earned them so much points at Spa, so it's quite good. I'm having the same co-drivers, we're having the same car, we are having the same team, the same people, so for sure tough, but yeah, I'm quite confident.
And you can never rule out Audi. Christopher Mies and Frank Stippler are on the same number of points, and Stippler in particular is a man on a mission. He wants yet another title.
We try everything to make it happen, especially because I think we had a very hard season regarding the BOP. It will be a big fight. It's a lot related to fuel consumption and brake consumption as well, so I think the team would have deserved it a lot.
Marc VDS Racing came close to winning the championship in 2012. The team could win in 2013, although Bas Linders doesn't think they're favourites.
Last year we really wanted to win it. I think the championship was ours last year. We deserved to win it. We were leading from the start, and we just lost it at the end with 2 points. But this year I think it's not really for us to win it. If we do, yeah, it's good, but we are not the favourites. Not in the beginning of the season and not now before the last race.
Pro-Am this year has been largely about Nissan, and the man leading the Pro-Am Cup on points is the Spaniard Lucas Ordóñez. It'd mean the world for him to win the crown.
It will be great to win this championship. Blancpain has been incredible. A very, very big surprise for me to come this year to this championship and to adapt to the GTR quite well. And it's going to be tough, but you know, it's what it is. It's what we want. We want pressure. We want clean and a nice fight during the 6 hours race. And I'll work as hard as possible to win this, no?
And then there's his teammate Alex Buncombe. He's 3rd in the points in the Pro-Am Cup, but Alex only drives one way, and that is flat out. He could yet be the champion.
The most important thing is for the team to win the teams. Obviously, from my point of view as a driver, I'd love to win the championship. I'd love nothing more. But the real shame, obviously, the shunt at Spa really put us on the back foot. You know, we were leading the championship before then, but it's all down to this race. And the car seems great, so there's no reason why we can't fight for at least a podium in Pro-Am. So may the best man and car combination win.
In Pro-Am, though, Louis Machiels and Nick Homerson are looking for 3 championship titles in a row. Louis Machiels knows it won't be easy.
We hope for sure for 3 wins, 3 victories in 3 seasons. but it will be very difficult with Nissan. We were a little bit unlucky in Spa with the tires, right hand, and okay, but we will do all our effort, and hopefully we'll get the third one.
But we already have one championship sewn up. The Gentleman Trophy was won at Spa by Sofrev, and one of the drivers is Patrice Gouillard.
For us it was a fantastic season, especially at Francorchamps, because it's really good to win the 24-hour race. For some races it was hard for us, and for this final at the Nurburgring we want to prove we win the championship again.
The pace car will peel into the pit lane, and we're going to be racing very shortly indeed. 1,000 kilometres or 6 hours, depending on which comes first. I would suggest it's going to be to the 6-hour mark. We have a report of number 34 Ferrari, Eric Demont, having a little fire on the grid. Hopefully that is not going to be a problem for the rest of the race. It's all been quelled and we can get underway safely. As the lights are on red, the race director will give the command to flick them to green. The last round of the Blancpain Endurance Series is go. Fabulous sight as this enormous grid pounds down to the first corner. Good start being made by the Mercedes of the poleman Max Goetz. Alessandro Pierguidi slots in with him. You've got Antoine Leclerc third in the McLaren, then Michael Alyoshin on the outside line, and a very rapid Audi. Christopher Mies, potential champion. We'll talk about who can win it as the race wears on. He's made a good start fifth, but the Mercedes, the dominant car from Spa, leads the way as they wriggle their way up through the Mercedes arena for the first time. Rob Bell under attack in the Gulf Racing McLaren. One of the Nissans dives up the inside, and Alvaro Parent on the curb for Hexis Racing. You'd think this was going to be a 10-lap sprint, but there are an awful lot of people in a big hurry, and that is the number 34 Porsche. It's still ablaze. Number 34 with Eric Demont at the wheel is well and truly ablaze. That's going to have to pit. And so as something goes flying there's contact, Ferrari off, and there's another car in the background. Two Ferraris have gone. That's a big impact straight away. One of them is the SMP car 73. That comes to a rest by the side of the road. That's Luca Persiani, the Italian ex-Formula 3000 racer. There was another car involved in the background which looked to me like possibly one of the Sofrev cars. But drivers are not exactly taking a very calm approach to the start of this race. You can see straight away Luca Persiani is out of the car, and it looks as though his 1,000 kilometres has come to an end on the opening lap of the race. So we've got two off in the barriers, we've got another one on fire, and 5 hours and 58.5 minutes of the race remain. We've not done a lap yet. It was a Sofrev car. It's number 10, Gabriel Balthazar. So that's the car that's also been involved. I was right. And 34 is still burning, and it's now starting to burn bodywork as Luca Persiani looks at the damage and somebody else goes off. Number 17 Ferrari is Dennis Anderson, and another car with damage. 59 Ferrari limping back to the pit lane. That is Andrew Danilov at the wheel of it. This is an absolutely manic start to the race.
David, the reason for this is because when I was on the grid, there was the finest of mists of rain just beginning to fall. You couldn't see it even on a windscreen, but you could feel it on your face. But on the track surface, that's the difference between getting grip and no grip. And there you see the outcome.
So opening lap drama. 59 has got damage. The leaders pound over the line. We've lost 73 Ferrari. We've lost number 10 Ferrari. Here they come. You can see it's getting greyer and greyer. It looks like the end of the race, rather, with all the headlights on now as they dive down to turn one. At the end of lap one of the race, Max Goetz it was who led the way ahead of Pierguidi. 34 Ferrari down the pit lane. So that blaze can hopefully be dealt with. What a first lap. Antoine Leclerc third. They're three wide looking mid-pack, and it's somewhere in the midst of all of that is Alvaro Parent. So you're looking at the fight at the moment for 12th place. Parent in the middle of it all. Round the outside goes 16. Marcus Winkelhock in the Audi. Scene of the one and only Grand Prix he did, and he led, and Parent gets forced out wide, and up the inside goes Marcus Paltela. What a race.
It's a 6-hour race. This is like a 6-minute race. The traffic coming down out of turn 4 into 5. I mean, this is a bit of the racetrack. You can see waved yellow flags. I don't even know if the drivers are capable of seeing anything other than what's directly in front of them.
And a slow BMW, Stefano Colombo for Vita 4-1. Right, we may have seen the last of Pro GT Almera because that car is heading now into its garage, and what can they do to sort out that blaze? They'll also, of course, have to make sure the scrutineers are happy for it to rejoin. Andrew Danilov, who had a crash here in the bronze test last year, has brought in his Ferrari with its smashed rear wing. And so as we have the race leaders accelerating uphill, it is Max Goetz leading the way. He's being pursued at the moment by number 90, Alessandro Pierguidi. And you're riding on board with number 3 BMW, which is in the hands for the opening stint of Jelmer Berman. And that is a car in 18th place, ahead of Stefan Ortelli, who's got an outside chance of winning the championship. A new AF Corsa rear wing required for Andrew Danilov's Ferrari. So the championship headed, of course, by Kessel Racing. They're in 16th place overall. The nearest opposition, Max Buch, who is currently the race leader. Max Goetz at the wheel of the car.
And I wonder the gap, it was 5.5 seconds. Let's look and see what it is this lap. Well, it's actually extended another 0.2 of a second up to 5.7.
Change of place there. Look, Zampieri's got past Finkelhock and now round the outside tries to go Marcus Paltela, so the Ferrari gains one spot. Paltela right round the outside. Done it. What a move. Fabulous bit of driving. Marcus Paltela, the flying Finn, goes up into 14th place. Finkelhock then is 15th, and Jelmer Berman in the background is the next one to try and stick his nose up the inside of the Audi. Can he do so? Braking now for turn one. Finkelhock's trying to fight back. Jelmer Berman wants to try and wriggle past him as well if he can, as into the pit lane comes Stefano Colombo's Vita41 BMW. So as these BMs are having a good run, the other team, local team, not doing so well. Now to the inside goes Berman. There's an Audi in his way.
Well, you can't make it. I mean, that's the sort of the end of that sequence of turns 2 and 3. And really, if you haven't got yourself alongside, forget about it. Your next best opportunity is going to be a good run onto turn 4. The short straight that leads you, then drops downhill into turn 5. Tricky under braking, and the track tends to fall away from you.
Well, there is the Vita41 BMW. They put fuel in it, which they will do at any pit stop if it's unscheduled, and wave it away now. And there, Alvaro Parent moves up the inside of Alex Buncombe.
It's going to take more than a McLaren to shift in this, and in turn 17, that's a big, strong car. And now Parent under challenge from Zampieri and the Ferrari. So Parent was focusing on the Nissan and now under threat from Zampieri coming down into turn 1.
I'm still surprised with the lack of pace this year from Hexis. It's been one of the disappointments of the season. Parent, we know he's quick. The team, we know he's good after its success with these cars last year. Contact! Zampieri's Ferrari gets squeezed onto the outside of the road there after the contact. He's managed to hang on to it, but how much damage has that done?
As long as it was side by side, and I think that was the right front of the McLaren and the door of the Ferrari on the left-hand side, so no contact wheel to wheel or suspension to suspension, but indication that Alvaro Parent, he's not here just to enjoy himself.
No, exactly, and there's also, I suspect, quite a lot of frustration in that car that it's not higher up the order. There's no argument about the pace of Parent. Talk us through it.
Yeah, dives down the outside, Parent in the inside of the... Now watch who runs wide and position the Ferrari. It makes the cutback, gets alongside. Alvaro Parent is forced to... He didn't want to concede the position. That was almost half a car length advantage to Zampieri. He will feel that I was wrong done by there. That was almost a professional foul in terms of what you can get away with in a motor race.
Down they come towards turn 1. McLaren to the inside. Alvaro Parent is going to get through, I think. He's alongside. He's got his nose in front. Now, what's Zampieri going to be able to do? Is he going to be opportunistic? Yes, because Parent goes wide. The Ferrari nips past the Nissan as well. And so Alex Buncombe was rather hung out to dry there. The two Pro Cup cars go past him. That doesn't affect things for him in the championship. It does affect his race a little bit. And now Zampieri is really on his toes.
Now, Zampieri is going to do back to Parent. What do you have? Well, I'm sorry. It was predictable, even though it was a half a second before it happened. But that is the consequence of what happened 3 or 4 laps earlier, where we saw Alvaro Parent, say, called it a professional foul on this car, and now Daniel Zampieri has got his way back. Now again, that will be looked at by the steward. Was that necessary? Was that an unavoidable incident? To me, yes, it was avoidable, but will the stewards take any action? Well, we have to wait and see.
And if they do, that could well be the end of the championship dream, so that might come back to haunt Zampieri. Have another look.
Yeah, I mean, coming through into the apex of turn 3, Alvaro Parent slows down, and you almost imagine that, again, the Ferrari just drives into the back of the McLaren, catches it perfectly in the left rear corner, spins the car around, and, I mean, both drivers should know better. In this instance, Alvaro Parent was the innocent victim. It was this car that would likewise felt he was the innocent victim when Parent tagged the side of the Ferrari.
Straight away, it is under investigation, that incident, no surprise. So Zampieri and Parent's incident being referred to the stewards. They'll have a look at it. And what we now need to wait for is the message line that says team manager of car, either 7 or 44, to the race director. Now, Marcus Paltela busy attacking as he heads uphill. So too is Jelmer Berman. Alex Buncombe dropping down through the pack just a little bit here.
And he's going to drop further because he's going to be taken up the inside by both the BM and the Audi. So Alex Buncombe, well, he's not in this race.
drive-through penalty for Daniel Zampieri for avoidable contact with car 7.
But he hit me first, Mr. Stewart, whatever you want to call you, Stewart. I mean, I didn't do anything wrong. What did he do to me? He hit me first of all. You're not allowed to come back and hit another car and spin it round.
But with 5 hours and 13 minutes, there is, as they say, a long way to go. There's the Ferrari.
And you're going to see, looking to see if those marks on the nose of the car are the result of the contact with the back of the Lexus McLaren. And, you know, this is what this team did not want. They had a 3-point advantage in the Drivers' Championship coming into this round. They started 15. They knew it was going to be difficult to make their way up through the field. It was made difficult because of the initial contact at this part of the track with Alvaro Perez, but then 3 laps later, Zampieri are paid back, I would say, with interest here at the apex of turn 3 and cost them a drive-through. Well, so far the top 10 cars have yet to come into the pit lane, so they're dragging out as long as they can, and it's going to be the last dregs of fuel in the car before they bring these effectively top 10 cars in.
Stefano Ortelli's spin, I gather, involved the Joe Foster Porsche. Whoops, he'd already spun. He spun into the back of him. So Stefano Ortelli seemed to lose it under braking. He was well wrong coming into the corner and clipped the back of number 48. So contact between cars 48 and 1 reported at turn 1 is absolutely true, but it was largely because rather Banzai Ortelli was already going in the wrong way and he hit the back of a car braking and trying to turn into the corner. The team manager of car 44, the Kessel Ferrari, to race control immediately. And we're being told, as in comes the second place Ferrari, Alessandro Pierguidi, that the release from the pit box of the 44 Ferrari was not exactly the safest. There was almost contact with one of the Nissan, so I think it's to do with the release from the pit stop that the officials want a word. But is there going to be another penalty? Well, we'll wait and find out. In comes 84, hits the board, Ben Schneider runs around the side, helps with the belts, out gets Goetz, in gets Schneider. 2-part pit stops. What we also need to look for in this, as they take the rip-off windscreen off, is whether they can double stint tyres, because that will save you a chunk of time in the pit stop, but you then have to make sure you don't lose too much at the end of the second stint, if that's what you're trying to do. Pit lane getting busy again. You can see also in has come Antoine Leclerc, so the top 3 all in the pit lane. The pit stop going like clockwork.
They will gain a benefit out of that new set of tyres. The first couple 3 laps is when Bernd Schneider can really do some strong lap times. Again, it'll all be dependent where the car filters back into the field once we get the entire field cycle through for pit stops. And here we're just slightly slow getting away, the engine on the limiter immediately, and it comes out behind the Porsche. And it's frustrating for Ben Schneider. He's lost time.
So Ben Schneider leads. We said so much of that at Spa. We've said it a lot in the DTM over the years. We can say it again here. And he's just done the best last sector of anybody in the race. A drive-through penalty as well for number 44, the Kessel Ferrari, for not slowing down under yellow flags. When it's not your day, it's not your day, is it, John?
No, it's not. And I mean, the disappointment, championship leading car coming in and having these issues, and it's just compounding, getting worse and worse. Oh, whoa, whoa. Big problem, big shunt.
That's Fabio Babini. Well, that means that there's no chance that that is going to be the winner. Remember that AF Corsa team was looking for 3 in a row. Fabio Babini is not very impressed with the Marshals' efforts to engage him.
Not only that, I mean, he went off, looks like, on the entry or approaching turn 13. Not at turn 13 before it. Whether it all went wrong in turn 12, whether that was an assist. Well, there you can see it. Just it is. Where was there? May have been another car involved. Certainly, you can see bodywork.
Yeah. We go safety car. The safety car is being deployed now. If that's because of all the damage for Fabio Babini's accident, it's taken a few laps for that decision to be made, but the safety car is being deployed nonetheless. And let's have a look at exactly what happened. Look at the largely black Ferrari, penultimate car in shot. Behind him is Stephen Kane. And the Ferrari gets a tap. And that is an enormous impact into the barrier. Lucky it didn't go over. It bounces its way into the gravel. The Nissan spins, but that was a huge hit.
Looking at it, the Nissan was on the outside of the track on the left-hand side. Ferrari seemed to come across thinking there was going to be clear air, and there wasn't, and that was a massive impact. Battle for second and third place. Oh, a little bit cautious.
And Rast up the inside. Look, he's going to mug Parisi here if he can. He's going to be on the outside line for turn 2. Can he go all the way around the outside?
Well, that's what he was waiting for. The traffic to come into play. Now he's on the outside coming into turn 4. Goes the long way around. almost getting by 2 cars side by side. Contact with Mike Parisi. No problem there. That will not be an issue for the stewards. Good racing for those 2 drivers, principally because of a slower car causing the Ferrari to back up the field. And now René Rast has moved up 1 place into 3rd.
Yeah, he's got to go defensive, but he has to dive past the McLaren there, number 5, which is now a lap down. So he does, and he puts that car over briefly between him and Mike Parisi, but Parisi follows him through. Godfrey Jones also now making his way past Koen Wouters, the Belgian musician, side by side. This now for 3rd place, down to turn 8. René Rast ahead of Mike Parisi. He's managed to find a way through, but he hasn't shaken him off yet. And where in all of that is Baz Leinders? He's dropped back. Scriabin is the next target for Rast, but for as long as he's defending from Mike Parisi, he can't yet clear off away from the McLaren and do much about the Ferrari. Leinders working his way through that S, the Michael Schumacher S. There is Wolfgang Reip, still trying to gain ground as well. Leinders working his way through traffic, and Rast is absolutely flying now.
He is, but he's not going to get it easy. Mike Parisi really felt he got trapped by that slower car into turn 1, which set off the chain of events that allowed René Rast to go bravely around the outside to get ahead of the McLaren. And now Mike Parisi looks to try and return that favour. The McLaren looks of good pace.
Kessel Racing Ferrari spin in the background, look.
Was that contact, or was that just dropping a wheel off the outside? Looked to me like it was maybe just dropping a wheel. Oh, and that Clobbers, now he's going to have to come in the pit lane now anyway. Was that a tyre problem that caused that incident? Looks to me like that left rear tyre may well have a problem. Is he going to come into the... Yes, he's in the pit lane also. So Nissan in, and the Ferrari.
The Ferrari from the garage, a bad sign. That's your Pro-Am Championship leading Nissan, and it's not going anywhere, is it?
No, it's out of schedule as well. This is not a scheduled pit stop.
But there's nobody in it, I don't think. Or is there... No, it's an empty car. And so Lucas Ordóñez's dream may well be ebbing away. 35 is right, Pizzera and Ordóñez.
He's been off the racetrack. Yep. Also, there's grass being pulled. Now, whether that set off the chain of events with Cesar Ramos, I suspect it did, because it purely couldn't be coincidence that these 2 cars so closely together came into the pit lane at the same time.
Now let's have another look. Top right of the screen. Look for something. It's already gone. But
you can see
the sideways coming into view.
The Ferrari sideways
had its drama.
So where is the Nissan? We can't really see it on board. It's already, the Nissan's already off the racetrack. There it is. You can see the dust.
Yeah.
Tell us what happened.
Well, I had a Ferrari behind me, and in the fast ride before the chicane, I let it pass, but I was outside and I let the inside for him, and he just pushed me out of the track. I'm more than 200k. That's it.
This is 3rd, 4th, 5th you're looking at. Rast has now scarpered, but Scriabin has got the BMW. Now, isn't it interesting in this second stint how the Baz Leinders Mark VDS BMW is looking far more competitive? Parisi up the inside now, hard on the brake, brakes as late as he dares going into turn 1. He's through, he's wide, he was up a place, he's down a place, but he's got the inside line for the next corner. Alexander Scriabin gives him racing room, and Mike Parisi, an experienced driver, hustles the McLaren up the inside line, and Baz Leinders wants a piece out of all of this as well. Can he find a way by? Yes, he can. He buys the ticket for the inside, way up over the curb. Scriabin just about defends. Leinders here is really pushing, and so too is Parisi. They're almost 3 wide now.
He's got a good opportunity to get to move down the inside into turn 5, but just can't quite get the track position. And Mike Parisi defends, having made a judicious move down the inside into turn 1, and just about held on to the position. And that's what gave Baz Leinders the light to say, I can make myself maybe 3rd, maybe certainly not where I currently am, lying in 5th.
Down to turn 8 then. Parisi up to 3rd. Scriabin 4th. Won't be long, I suspect, before Leinders finds a way past him. Alexander Scriabin, who's a quick am, really, goes strongly in this car. Good in the Ferrari challenge. And back into the pit lane is coming the Kessel Racing Ferrari. So I think the day, the race, certainly the championship dream is officially over now.
Oh, Porsche goes on a BMW.
That's Leinders.
Baz, where's that happened?
You're on board with him. He's at the Michael Schumacher S's, so climbing uphill from turn 8, and Baz Leinders all over the grass.
Well, Baz, why? I mean, we saw you running closely behind the Ferrari, but there was no clear reason we could see. I mean, an unexpected drop, if that was the case.
3 3/4 hours remain. There is the recovering Leinders.
Yes.
He's only lost 1 place, but crucially he's lost 8 seconds against his teammates.
Yeah, it's track position is the big loss. And I mean, also on top of that, has he done any damage to the tyres? When you spin, you can flat spot it. But I mean, it doesn't take Nicky Katsberg very long to catch up to the back of. In fact, Nicky Katsberg surely he's overtaken the Ferrari. I mean, the Ferrari goes really defensive, and that's aggressive defending, because obviously having to overtake the Mercedes, he would say legitimately, but I think that Katzberg would say, well, I think that was a bit unfair.
Mark VDS ready with tires if they need them. It'll be interesting to see if Katzberg can get past the Ferrari, bearing in mind Bas Leijnders couldn't. He sat there for many a lap. Katzberg is right there and challenging.
Absolutely, but Katzberg closed up to the Ferrari, I mean, literally in the space of 2 laps, from being, what, 3 seconds behind to being right on the gearbox. So Katzberg slightly closer into turn, holding a better line through turn 17, comes out of the corner side by side. It's going to be a knuckle-to-knuckle drag down this pit straight, but the BMW is on the inside. He will have the advantage other than the Ferrari, and it can't make any difference. So good bit of driving from Katzberg, but Skrieben allowed that pass to happen. He was wide in turn 17.
Pro Cup standings, Mercedes leads Audi, leads McLaren, and there you've got the recovering Nick Katzberg, recovering in the sense that he's trying to make up for the time lost when he was stuck behind Alexander Scriabin. You can see how Pro Cup looks as the graphic scrolls through for you. What you need to know, though, really, is that half a minute good up the road is Bernd Schneider, looking almost unstoppable. Although Bernd Schneider and Max Goetz can't win the championship, Max Buch can. He came into this race 2 points down on Ramos, Rigon and Zampieri, and so now he would be the champion if things stayed as they were, ahead of Christopher Mies and Frank Stippler. They'd be a point ahead of Goetz and Schneider, and then Berman, Martin and Leijnders would be next. We're kind of now down to 40 of the 50 starters. We've lost quite a few, haven't we? The mortality rate's been pretty high so far.
Yeah, but I mean, Mike Preezer runs way wide coming out of turn 6. But of course, on a circuit like Nurburgring, as we see the Nissan coming in to make its change, on a circuit like Nurburgring, there really aren't any major straights, and there are a lot of medium to slow speed corners. You never really get that kind of rhythm that you say, let's get at Monza, where it's a longer lap, or Spa-Francorchamps. Even at Silverstone, for example, you get an opportunity. Paul Ricard with that long Mistral straight, even though they put a chicane into it to slow them down before they get to Scene Corner. There's a rhythm to the circuit which is a different rhythm to that you have at Nürburgring, and it's this circumstance where you get cars grouping together and then everybody loses momentum and nobody can overtake, and it takes one item or one issue to break that up before everybody can then get through.
There's Alex Buncombe, a long way back, isn't he, in terms of track position from the class-leading Ferrari, like half a lap adrift, lots of gravel there on the road, so no wonder people go over the curb to avoid that. And then behind Alex Buncombe is Stefano Comodini. That's Enzo Ida, 7th overall in the Audi. People running, of course, on different laps now, so it's a very jumbled order on track. But Alex Buncombe, the way that things are going, by my maths, is going to come out on top here and score victory in the class.
Well, currently in 14th position, and you know, still over half race distance to go, and just keep out of trouble. We know how strong Alex Buncombe can be.
There you go, backs up my maths. He would be the class champion from Kirill Ladygin and Victor Shaitar, and Lucas Ordonez would be 3rd, and his co-driver Peter Pizzera would be 4th. We've got, coming into the pit lane, Alexander Scriabin, who was, of course, running in 2nd place a little while ago, and Bas Leijnders coming in as well. So Ferrari in and BMW in as well. Let's have a quick look at the Gentleman Trophy. That's being headed by number 53, the Gorini Pernod Thirion Sport Garage Ferrari, ahead of this year's champions, Jean-Luc Blancpain, Jean-Luc Bobelic and Patrice Goélard. And then 3rd in the class is 52 from Sport Garage, Eric Cairol, the vastly experienced French touring car racer, Bruce Logereau and Justino Ascarati, 2 Frenchmen and a Venezuelan. There is Bas Leijnders' car, Maxime Martin at the wheel, right on the tail of Andy Soucek. Now this is the battle for 4th place. We've done 101 laps, and 4th and 5th are now covered by 0.252 of a second.
Oh, the Ferrari again! But this time at the pit lane entrance. No, he didn't spin in the pit lane entrance. He probably spun coming out of the chicane and spun across the pit lane entrance. I mean, that car has been punchboard and countersunk so many times today. I mean, it's got to go in the record books.
Down towards turn 1 they go, and as we ride with Maxime Martin, he's got the McLaren ahead of him. This could be the lap on which he gains the place. Let's ride with him.
Right, so into turn 2. Again, turn 3 has been the bogey corner amongst a number of corners for Soucek. Martin, this time the McLaren again, it's running wide, it gets alongside, but can he get enough of the BMW's nose ahead? No, he can't. Makes the cut back now, come up and get alongside the McLaren under acceleration on the run down into turn 5. but can't really do anything about it. Still has to concede to the McLaren into turn 5, but it's happening eventually. It's going to be Maxime Martin will find a way through, but Andy Soucek is probably driving a car where he knows he's hanging on by just anything he's got. Again, Maxime Martin getting frustrated just with some of the back markers getting... Oh, he comes in anyway. So this is the opportunity that Mark VDS are going to try and make for them, not only to get onto the podium, but to try and put themselves into a much more competitive position outside of the leading Mercedes.
So that's a shorter stint, because rather than running to 38 laps, which is the ideal, they put the car in a bit early, as you heard why, to get him out of the traffic. There will be a driver change. You can double stint tyres, you can't double stint drivers under these regs. So it is going to be Jelmer Berman back into the car. So down the pit lane comes number 13 Audi, and that's going to have another driver change to go back potentially to Christopher Mies, who was very quick at the start of the race in that car. So Marcus Palteler's last lap was a 58.2, Soucek a 58.3, so quicker, and Jelmer Berman quite a long way back in terms of track position, 8th after that most recent pit stop. There also into the pit lane has come Klaus Hummel in the Pro-Am 1 contest. Steve Yance, I think, is going to get back into that car, having started it. Black Falcon run by a Brit, Sean Breslin. And that is 44 Kessel Racing off the road again, and it prompts John to say...
Is it all over finally?
No, I told you, it's like Rasputin, you can't kill that car.
How do you go to turn 5, goes off on the exit of turn 5, drives the car through the gravel trap, down the grassy bit of the inside of the racetrack, back on, and he's back in the races again. Well, you can't put a good man... Oh, no, sorry. You can't put a good car down.
That's it. Let's have a look at how he got there. Was it self-induced?
Yeah, he was just a wide, caught the edge of the grass, side by side, and the car snapped one way, then the other way. And, you know, because we're on a FIA Grade 1 Grand Prix circuit, you've got half of Germany to run off before you ever get into anything that might be seen as a hard barrier. So he gets away with it, and no, the car gets... I mean, the poor thing.
Yes.
The poor thing. I mean, if that was mine, I would never treat it like that.
In comes the McLaren, and Antoine Leclerc has to go for a run now to catch up to the car.
He almost overran. He almost got a bit of oversteer running onto the car. I thought, actually, because the soles of your boots, not all of them, they're not always rubber soles. Sometimes they can be leather soles. And leather on concrete doesn't have a lot of adhesion. Wouldn't it have been funny if it'd gone down in his path to get to the car? That wouldn't have been funny at all.
You're mean.
I'm cynical. I'm mean. I know I'm mean. But, you know, everything is so focused. He runs, and he almost got to a point where he overran the door of the car to help Andy Soucek out.
So now what we need to see is whether or not Jelmer Berman can come over the line ahead of the McLaren and leapfrog him on the pit stops. So,
well, with Berman being out in the car, having done laps on fresh rubber, he's coming up through turn 13 up to the chicane, and he's probably got about another 18-20 seconds before he would pass the car, the McLaren, which is still only getting its rubber. So it's going to be an easy thing. BMW have worked it out, done a good job. McLaren have lost out, so he'll have to travel at 50 k's down the pit lane. Quite a long way down the pit lane as the BMW roars past, and there it is.
Yeah.
Easy. What an easy way to take a position. You fight for an hour to get past, and just good pit work, you know, coming in at the right time, taking advantage, getting out. Jelmer Berman, clear air. I mean, yeah, I love it.
I was about to say, I reckon the leader should be in any moment, and he is. There he is, bang on cue at 113 laps, so 84 comes in.
So the door open, and Maximilian Buch, all 5'2" and a dripping wet of him. They're getting out of the Mercedes. Now, waiting to see that long camera shot's hard to tell just how the driver change is going, but obviously it's pretty easy as the BMW makes its way back out onto track. Unfortunately, finds itself behind the number 2 Audi.
Now this is Frank Schnippler versus the BMW Nick Katzberg. This for 5th place, and there's contact. So the Audi just about hangs on to the place. Nick Katzberg looks for a way by, can't find a way through. The Audi team is the only one I've spoken to that is having to factor into a pit stop a change of discs and pads. That surprises some teams, but because of the extra weight, Audi suggesting that they are going to have to change discs and pads in the last pit stop, and that's going to cost them 30 seconds. They factored it into the calculations already. They don't want to do it, but they fear it is going to happen.
I mean, I can't imagine taking off red-hot carbon fibre discs releasing the caliper. I mean, all right, 24 hours of Spa or Le Mans. I mean, it is tough on brakes, but that's taken it to extreme.
Now, how about this? We've had, coming up over the timing line, BMW versus Audi once more, and this time through, it is a change for place, because now the BMW goes by, and Nick Katzberg gets himself ahead of Frank Stippler. They're in traffic, and they've also just gained 2 more places back, as Edward Sandstrom has pitted, Anthony Kumpen has pitted, so now Goetz leads Berman, leads Katzberg. It's Mercedes, BMW, and Frank Stippler's Audi in 4th place. Is that car, once they've done the tyre change, going to go on the jacks and be wheeled around and go into the garage? If it is, that's the brake issue rearing its head. So see what happens next. I talk about these being 2-part pit stops. The fuel and driver is part 1, tyres is part 2, but this could be a 3-part pit stop. No, they've dropped it down. Or have they? No, jacks are coming out. Yep, it's going to be turned around, and this is your pad change.
Is it a pad change front only or front and rear? We don't know that. I think it might just be front only, because fronts would normally be the pads that would wear out more quickly.
Discs as well there, if they need to change those.
I would say at the minute those, well, certainly the disc would be 300 to 400 Celsius. It gets much, much hotter under braking, but there's still a huge amount of, but it will, carbon fibre sheds heat as quickly as it gains it. But let's put it this way, you wouldn't want to hold them in your hands without wearing asbestos gloves.
But look how effectively this is being done. There's no messing around. The mechanics know exactly what they're doing. They're straight onto the job.
Oh, is this another incident? Oh, here we go. There we are. Well, it's a shame. A gentleman driver maybe misjudged that slightly, but the Nissan was certainly on a mission to make a pass down the inside. Too far back in reality, and of course once the Ferrari was committed to closing, and that's, what's that, bodywork?
Well, that's the Nissan that hit it.
Yeah, but there's a loss of spot on.
Yeah, presumably the impact has loosened clips and the bonnet's ripped off, so the bite a bit. Another pit stop for number 35. Now into the pit lane comes Peter Pitzera.
I mean, Nissan off track.
That's Alex Buncombe. Oh, it's Alex Buncomb's car. Jan Margaret at the wheel of it. It's Alex Buncomb's championship hopes you're looking at, really.
Down at turn 8. Now, that again is a big braking area. Our Nissan maybe beginning to struggle with brakes.
And while this car may be having problems, so too number 35 we saw come in without its bonnet. The team manager of that has been told to go
and he's gone off again. Down at turn 1, he's going to hit the barrier.
He's not any brakes left at all. They just disappeared on him. He's in the gravel, and that could be the end of the race. And now, what does that do to Alex Buncomb's championship hopes?
I mean, it just came down into turn 1, and it appeared the car made little effort at all to slow down. We think that going into turn 8 on the previous lap, that may have been a brake problem, but they're now clearly an issue, and this is a team that no indication that brakes were going to become an issue, and so let's look and see any sign of anything popping out through the wheels that would indicate, well, the back end slapped to put in. I just think he couldn't get the car slowed down. There you can see the discs, they weren't glowing. Okay, that was down at turn 8, so let's watch now. There's a puff of smoke out of the left front. They'll be coming onto the main straight. There's smoke, you can see blue smoke coming out of the left wheel on the brakes, and now the car just isn't slowing down on the grass, and it's all simply going up in brake fluid. Nothing is over, as they say, until it's over, but if you take it at face value, Alex Buncomb's face, I think, sums it up.
But in an hour and 35 minutes, can a problem befall anybody ahead of him? The answer is yes, it can. Will it is a different question altogether. Now, while we've been looking at drama for Nissan, it is only fair to report on a modicum of good news, which is Kessel Racing, because who has done the fastest lap of the race, John?
I just mentioned it.
Daniel Zampieri.
I said that 5 minutes ago.
A star. Despite the fact the car is as dog-eared as it is, he's pounding on, and he's done the fastest lap, 26th overall now, so he too continues to push on. Let's head back to the pit lane for a moment and hear from the 2 Nissan Championship rivals, neither of whom are going anywhere. Jack.
Alex, it looks like your car's about to go back out there, but can you take the title?
I don't think so. We've lost too much time. I think we've probably lost 5 laps, so I don't know where I need to finish to beat this man in the drivers, but no, you know, that's the way it goes. So
bad news for Alex is good news for you.
Well, no, we have to think for Nissan, we have to think for the team, and you know, it's very unfortunate. They were doing a great race, top 10, and you know, this is really bad for the team, and you know, we need to think more than as a driver, as a team, but obviously for my team standings, for my driving standings is good, but I need to think for the team as well, and you know, it's very sad to see both cars in the pits, and hopefully we can have a clean end of the race.
There's the BMW. It really is getting a bit of a game of poker here with some of these teams in the top 3 podium positions, to whether they will actually be forced into a pad change, which is something that never really seemed to be on the agenda.
They're going to do it.
Yes, it is. Up it goes there. The trolley jacks go underneath.
It's only done a 27-lap stint, so clearly something was awry. And so this is the first chance we see a BMW showing its hand in terms of brake wear. It's certainly a slower stop than the 30 seconds or so that Audi allows for it, but as long as they don't lose too much time, then they're going to be good to get back in the race. But I think they've lost a lap for sure now by this. Bonnet back on, wheels are going back on, so the work's nearly done.
There we are, car will come down. There we go, fire it up, and off it goes. Lots of rubber on the pit wall, pit lane, not the pit wall. What isn't on the pit wall?
Into the pits comes Jelmer Berman. Now, is this going to be for pads as well? If it is, and it's going to be a long stop like we saw for number 4, this is going to tumble down the order. So this could shuffle around the leading 4 or 5 positions here to an extent. Berman in. It's going to be a driver change first of all, but let's see what they do to the car. Having a look to see if they can assess whether they need to do anything on the brakes. If they can avoid doing so, they'll get the car back into the race. So as the team is just about ready to go, the car is dropped down, it fires up and away it goes. So car 3, no pad change, back on track. And we're also being told of some debris out on the track at turn 10. The last time we had debris on the track, we got a safety car. Depends how much debris there is, but this could also be significant with just over an hour to go.
Lead car, Maximilian Goertz coming in. This might well be its final stop. The stage they're at, they should surely make it on the final stint. So who will they put in? Will they put in? It is Book.
Yeah, so he's going to win the championship. Let him bring it across the line. Ben Schneider will be the first man ever to win the Nurburgring 1000 Ks and 24 in the same year.
What are they doing? Are they going to spin the car around? Yes, they are. They are. Ooh, there's a spanner in the works, or a spanner into the front brakes change, isn't it?
It's a spanner I quite like, just for the purposes of hotting up things at the front of the field. So now, what is this going to do to the chances of, for example, number 3 BMW? That's the next best placed car, and of course number 11 McLaren.
And it's been driven by Maxime Martin, who will drive the wheels and everything else off it.
Even if, though, this car on its fresh pads has to take on this car on used pads, Mercedes, you'd still say, would have the advantage, wouldn't you?
There's no question.
Oh, Andy Soucek, best of anybody in the first sector of the entire race on his first flying lap. He means business.
Why not? He's a racer.
The call will have gone over the radio, won't it? We're back to possibly see the pendulum swing BMW's way here, because it now completes 147 laps. And look at this, it's going to be so close down towards the first corner. This is going to be the BMW to take the lead as they break for turn 1, because there they've done the same number of laps, and the BMW gains track position over the Mercedes into the last hour. And now we've got a nice little battle on our hands.
Don't get so excited, David. This is motor racing. It's professional. Take emotion out of it.
Goes the Mercedes to grab the race lead. Maxime Martin tries to get the switch back. He's going to get back in front. Is he going to be able to take the line for the corner? Yes, he is! Fantastic! Maxime Martin goes back up front oh so briefly. We have Maxi Book in the lead of the race, and Maxime Martin is back up front. But if it happened at that corner once, it may well happen again. Maxime Martin is working overtime, but I don't envy him that task.
Well, this is the only part of the track that really looks realistic for the Mercedes. Gets down the inside, but he's so tight, he can't slow the car down enough to make the apex without overrunning, and Maxime Martin don't have to show him the opportunity twice. Gets the drive, gets ahead before they get to turn 2. Critical for Martin to do so. Again, Martin has got the marginal advantage. Book's going to have a look down the inside, and Martin pulls over, lets him go, and he's going to repeat the treatment up the inside. For God's sake, you know, maybe I shouldn't be so harsh, but I mean, Maxime Martin knew precisely what was happening, and he knew what to do. And the young German in the Mercedes-Benz sailed on looking for the iceberg that was never there. And look, the gap now, nothing. Mercedes gets up alongside.
This is going to happen for him on the inside. Change of lead, change of championship leader as well. Maxime Bouc goes ahead of Maxime Martin. Martin's being warned about exceeding the track limits at different places, but can he fight back and retake the advantage? Let's see. The BMW not as powerful in a straight line as that Mercedes, and the gap starts to grow. And so, with 34 minutes to go, we have a new race leader, and back into the lead of the championship goes Maxime Bouc as they come over the line. But Maxime Martin will not give up. He's not going to go down without a fight, is he? You can see that the gap has opened up a little bit between the two. Martin's not near enough there to attack, but the Mercedes goes a little bit wide. Still not wide enough, though, to give Martin an opportunity. Looking, though, here at the Ferrari of what are going to be race winners in Pro-Am, but championship runners-up, and it is the 71 SMP Racing Ferrari, turning its way then now up towards the completion of the lap. That's 52 Ferrari, which leads the Gentleman Trophy, with Bruce Logeray-Roux at the wheel, former single-seater hot shoe. So he's the man at the moment that holds sway in class. The checkered flag is at the ready. It's going to be a race win and a championship win in the Blancpain Endurance Series for Maximilian Bouc, who accelerates up towards the line to win on home soil. German driver wins in Germany. The Blancpain 1000 is won by Maximilian Bouc, Maximilian Goetz and Ben Schneider, and the Pro Cup in the Blancpain Endurance Series is won just by Maxime Bouc. Second over the line should be the BMW, slowing towards the end. Maxime Martin, I think, did eventually back off on that last lap and just bring the car home. It was a very slow last lap. It suggests that there was perhaps a problem, but it was a slow last lap. As in the background, you can see lights flashing. He's a very, very happy Victor Shahita, who takes the Pro-Am victory on track. This is the car for third place overall, and it's going to be the number 11 McLaren in the hands of Andy Soucek, Antoine Leclerc and Mike Parisi. So there is a very happy Max Goetz, and alongside him is that young up-and-coming bloke Ben Schneider, who gets in on the act again. He may have retired from a full-time career, but Mercedes, for whom he's an ambassador, keep bringing him back into action, and he's as quick as ever. So there is Maxime Bouc getting out of the car, and he's the champion, he's the race winner. What a day. Maxi Goetz is the first one there to congratulate him. John Watson is there to have a word with our race winner and champion, Maximilian Bouc.
Congratulations. Down here in the park for me, Maximilian Bouc. How happy are you? Max, fantastic. Great race towards the end, unbelievable.
Yeah, big thanks to GT Motorsport, to Bernd and Maxi. Was incredible all this weekend long. Yeah, in the last stint now was quite cool to battle with Maxime, and yeah, was everything fair, and I went all in on this situation. I thought now or never, and yeah, went quite good.
Everything looked flawless from the team, from all three drivers. But at the end, I mean, you really had to go motor racing instead of just going and doing a nice Sunday afternoon drive. You had to race.
Yeah, it was nothing more than endurance. It was nearly sprint race in the last stint, and I did not expect to be that close with the BMW that he is in front of the pit stop. But anyway, it was quite cool to race. That's why we are here, and yeah.
Well, many congratulations. Fabulous day for you. Thank you.
This is how Pro Cup looked in the race. HTP Motorsport comes home victorious ahead of Marc VDS Racing Team. McLaren third, thanks to Mike Parisi, Antoine Leclerc and Andy Soucek. Scriabin, Bobby and Pierre Guidi take fourth ahead of Kazuki Hoshino, Stephen Kane and Peter Dumbrach. Paltela, Moser and Katzberg sixth in class ahead of Hubert Haupt, Luca Ludwig and Andreas Simonsen. And last year's winners, Mark Henrici and Xavier Marson, eighth with Maxime Soulet. And now to the race winner. Maxi Goetz, Maxi Bouc and Ben Schneider receive their trophies. With the drivers on the podium, you know exactly what's going to happen next. Team's representatives tries to make a runner, just about gets away with it as the champagne is sprayed. At Spa, we have victorious Mercedes drivers. It's happened again here. For the second year in a row, Marc VDS Racing is denied the championship, despite the best efforts of Maxime Martin right at the very end of the race. And so the Pro Cup, in the end, won by Maximilian Bouc. Second, Goetz and Schneider on equal points as Leinders, Martin and Berman. But because of the race results on the tie-break, that's how Schneider and Goetz get classified second with more race wins. Anton Ladygin, Kirill Ladygin and Victor Shahita gets his trophy. The winners for SMP Racing in their Ferrari 458 Italia. That has been an excellent effort. They miss out on the championship by just 2 points to Kirill Ladygin and Victor Shahita, but the battle is still on, and it's with the champagne. Anton Ladygin is first, I think, with the cork out of the bottle. This is how the result looks. The two Ladygin brothers and Shahita are ahead of Ceruti and Comandini. Hummel, Jans and Christodoulou third, ahead of Wouters, Dermont and Verviche. Lebed, Krugling and Gianmaria come home fifth, ahead of Delhay and Albert. The Haribo Porsche seventh. Lucas Ordonez, the champion, eighth, ahead of Alex Buncombe and his co-driver Szulzicki and Marlborough. That brake problem really putting pay to Alex's chances. So Lucas Ordonez wins the title by 2 points from Ladygin, K and Shahita. Peter Pizzera ends up third, ahead of Alex Buncombe. Nick Homerson, Louis Machiel's and the absent Andrea Bertolini's chances went into the barriers with Fabio Babini at the wheel. They're tied on points then with Klaus Hummel, Steve Jans and Adam Christodoulou, with Ludovic Badet and Henry Hassid eighth. The results in the Gentleman Trophy: 174 laps done by the winning car of Ascarati, Keirol and Logerie-Roux, ahead of Brogy and Auger. Pierre-Eret, Alexander Matschul and Christian Colas third, ahead of Andreazzi, Palladino and Ardagna. Howard Blanc, Jean-Marc Bachelier and Yannick Manigault fifth, Daniel De Bruyne and Christian Kell was sixth, and after that you get to the drivers that had big problems. There are the class winners, because there is Eric Keirol in the middle, to his right Bruce Logerie-Roux and the Venezuelan driver Justino Azcarate. This is how the championship ultimately looks. Jean-Luc Bobelic, Jean-Luc Blanchimont and Patrice Guillard, the class winners, ahead of Leonardo Guarini with some good results over the season. Then Beniamino Caccia ahead of Romain Brandella. The win today helps Bruce Logerie-Roux up to fifth, ahead of Spa winner Fred Bouvi, then seventh Paolo Andreassi and Pablo Palladino. Mercedes wins the Blancpain 1000. Maximilian Buch wins the championship. From the Nurburgring, for Jack Nicholls and John Watson, from me, David Addison, it's goodbye at the end of the 2013 Blancpain Endurance Series.